This is going to be your weekly tarot and oracle relationship reading. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. We're going to take a look at the energies over the past few days leading up to today and the current weekend. And then we're going to look at the energies for next week. So we're going to be using the Before Tarot deck. We're going to be using the Witch's Tarot for the current energy. And then we're going to use the After Tarot deck for the energies next week. So I'm really curious to know how you're feeling. In my lives on TikTok and Instagram, I often ask, what's your word of the day? How are you feeling? So I invite you to tell me, what is the word of the week in regards to your connection? How are you feeling? Have any wounds come to the surface or any fears? Are you going with the flow? What would you say right now is the theme of what's happening for you and your person? Whether you're together or whether you're in separation, it really doesn't matter. Just an overall vibe. But I will say this, the last week has been interesting because we had the new moon solar eclipse called the Ring of Fire, and the emotions have been up and down. I would describe it like a roller coaster, and a lot of people have told me that they feel numb, like as if they don't know how to feel. They don't know what to do. And I think eclipses bring a lot of things to the surface, and we have one of two options. Either we address the fears or the wounds, or we sweep them under the rug. And I always say that if we sweep them under the rug, they're going to resurface again, okay? They don't stay hidden forever. So it, of course, depends on your circumstances, but it's now time to make some moves, and I talk about that from a personal perspective, as in like personal spiritual growth and evolution. You need to do for you in order to have your connection grow. And I know that sounds a little bit backwards because we say, but shouldn't we give to our partner? Shouldn't we focus on the relationship? You are number one. Always remember that. So let's take a look at what are the overall themes and messages for your relationship or your connection this week. And we have infinite abundance. Abundance is pouring into your life. You have to believe that everything is working out for you. Always. No question. And I know that's hard. It's like, where do we find abundance when we don't feel we have any? And it's an age-old question, I think. It's all perspective. It's not delusional to think that you're doing well or to believe that you have something good. There's a card that came up recently, actually from this deck, and it was called, Vast Horizons, I believe, or something along those lines. Don't quote me, but it was something along those lines. And, it said to explore. And what I think is hard for people is to explore something that is the unknown, of course, because what's the unknown? We don't know what that is. So if you're not sure what abundance looks like or feels like, sometimes it's hard to achieve it. But I want you to look inside your soul, truly, I know it sounds cheesy, and say, what is it that makes me feel joy? What am I passionate about? What do I love to do? What did I stop doing because life got in the way? What does it feel like to have everything? And that doesn't have to mean materialistically. It means, it can be if there's something you strive to have, whether that's a new home or a new car, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. What does it feel like to have it? You have to embody that abundance, okay? It's the same thing in regards to a relationship. People will say, make a list of all the things you want in a person and be those things. Feel those things within you, okay? But you have to believe that it's pouring into your life. Your cup runneth over. Now, here we have, I just said cup, did I not? Well, this is about receiving feminine energy. You have to be in receiving mode. And I always say receiving mode activated. So love, love, love that card. We're definitely in tune here today. Now, let's see what else we need to know. Your dreams into practical plan. You know what this means to me? Intentions, okay? This doesn't mean you have to have everything set in stone. It means have some intentions and see where things take you. You have to clearly decide what you want. Now, I have to just say on theme, every time that I go film, I have kitty parkour going on in the background. So I apologize if you hear my cat running around, looking out the windows, up and down the stairs. Jimmy is on a mission right now to do this while I'm filming. Thank you, Jimmy. So, your dreams into practical plan. Set some intentions. How can any of this abundance come to you if you don't have any intentions set, right? Otherwise, you're confusing the universe. If you don't know what you want, you're going to get more, I don't know. If you're confused and you're saying, I'm confused, you're going to get more confusion. So it's all about perspective, right? So let's take a look at what's going on between you and your person. We're going to look at what's in your headspace, your person's headspace, your heart space, their heart space, overall energy and underlying energy. And of course, feel free to swap sides if it makes more sense. So let's see. So this is the energy leading up to today when you see this reading. This is Friday that I'm filming this. So the energies you may have been feeling up to this point. And it's the Ten of Swords. Okay, so Ten of Swords in this depiction is saying you're on your way to ending a cycle. You've got to leave something behind. See the darkness in the sky? You know, this is sort of this energy that says you're getting prepared. So interesting. All right. Now, you have work to do. This is it, plain and simple. Eight of Pentacles says you've got work to do. Don't hold yourself back. We have to shift forward. It's constant work. And I just want to remind you, in a relationship, we always want the other person to come correct. Absolutely. But you have to come correct also. And that means you have work to do. So let's see what else we need to know here. In your person's headspace, you know, the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups is a card of possibly missing opportunities or overthinking. Okay? And so here you can see the universe is offering all of these cups. And right now there's one cup that's being taken, but not all four in total. Okay, so here's the thing. Your person has opportunities. They've got to get through the overthinking and the analyzation of it. And there's the Nine of Pentacles. They're working on feeling better in their own skin. They need to. Okay, super important for their growth. So they're taking their time. This is not anything that's moving quickly, you know. But in your heart space, the King of Swords, see another offer from the universe. You can see that the sword is being offered. And what is a sword? It's truth, it's clarity, right? Swords are all about communication. So King of Swords energy says you need to be more logical and decisive. And that's what I was saying earlier. You know, you need an intention. You need to be crystal clear about what you want. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get what you want. You're going to get what you need more than anything. But you have to have some sort of idea in mind. And I'm going to repeat myself. I probably say this every week that I do this. And that is, be a Roomba. What does a Roomba vacuum do? It spins around the room. And when it hits the wall, it redirects itself. It's okay if you have to go back to the drawing board. It's okay if you have to revise something or innovate something. That's what life is all about. I mean, think about when you were in school, right? And you go from grade to grade to grade. You've got to master a skill. And if you make a mistake, it's okay. You go back and you learn it or you practice it more. It's a process, okay? And that's why I always say trust the process. And of course, when it comes to a relationship, I always say trust their process. Oftentimes, we don't think about that. We don't think about trusting their process. They're doing what's right for them, just like you're doing what's right for you. And everybody has a different perspective of what that means. Now, here is the Seven of Wands. You're getting ready. You're getting ready to fight, to stand up. This is an element here that says, I'm going to pray that everything's going to work out. And what is prayer? Prayer is manifestation, essentially, right? It's putting out intentions. I really think that's the theme of this reading, is about setting intentions and being clear. Now, in your person's heart space, we have the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands, notice how he has the whole world in his hands, okay? And the Two of Wands says, I need to make a decision. I need to leave my comfort zone. And that's essentially what your person needs to do. They need to leave their comfort zone so that they can feel better on their own skin. They can take opportunities coming their way. And here's the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is throwing caution to the wind. This person is getting ready, preparing themselves to branch out, to do different things, okay? So that being said, let's look at the overall energy between the two of you. And we've got the Emperor. The Emperor's all about making power moves. You know, this Emperor's about to sit on his throne. And I'm going to tell you something. The Emperor does not play around. The Emperor is somebody who's here to play chess, not checkers. So this is not somebody who's going to do something hastily. This is the King of Kings energy, right? And with that, we have the Knight of Pentacles. And what did I just say about trusting the process? You know, look, trusting the process is cheesy. I get it. That line, sometimes I look at myself and I say, wow, Kelly, I mean, how many times in a day could I say trust the process? I'm even wearing a Trust the Process bracelet that I've made. It's a reminder for me every single day, but what else can I do? What else can we do? What choice do we have other than to trust? Now the underlying energy here is the 10 of Pentacles. We're getting ready to have our tangible fulfillment here. In this particular picture, there's a woman with a young baby, and in the regular tarot, that depiction would be the family is all together. There's a full family, many generations, and this happiness. And it's almost like we're on the brink of such happiness. But again, we have to be open to it. And with that, we have the World. Beautiful. This is about completion of a cycle. Again, we're getting ready to go to the next round or to the next level, whatever that means for you. Okay. So let's go to the current energies that you may be experiencing. So these were all the energies leading up to the current time. Okay. So let's see what's going on in your headspace. Interestingly enough, 8 of Pentacles. No surprise. There's always progression. That's what I love about this type of reading, is that we see the progression from the previous energy to now. And here's the King of Swords. My goodness, we're really on point here today. There's the King of Swords. This is now somebody who's actually holding the sword. This is somebody who's saying, I'm going to make a decision and see what happens. Okay, I love it. Now, let's take a look at what's going on in your person's headspace. And we have the Queen of Cups. Interesting. This is somebody who needs to trust their intuition and follow their heart. They also don't know how to receive. And this is the thing about equal giving and receiving and balance. It's okay to give to others. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't misunderstand me when I say, stop overgiving, don't overgive. And I'm constantly hammering that home. And the reason I'm saying that is because we often go so extra when it comes to our giving. And that's because we have an underlying desire to be loved in return, right? But it's okay for this person to give to you. It's okay for you to give to them. But again, there has to be some level of reciprocity or a balance to that. I mean, it doesn't always have to be 50-50. There are going to be days when you're going to need to give a little more and they'll need to give a little more. Again, give and take. But they really need to trust their intuition. Follow their heart. And that's something that's hard for a lot of people, is to follow their heart. There's always that saying, the longest journey is from the head to the heart. And so in their headspace with that, we have the Queen of Pentacles, a lot of queen energy. They definitely have divine feminine energy in their headspace. The Queen of Pentacles is somebody who loves her family and home. She likes nice things. She's also generous. So finances or stability could be on the mind of your person. But I do find it quite interesting that there's this strong Queen energy. And again, that's not about gender. That's just about energy. Okay. And I do find it interesting too, when we look at these cards, we see this King energy and Emperor energy. Yes, we have a Knight here, but again, there is progression that's coming from all of this. So let's see what's going on in your heart space. And we have the 7 of Swords. Okay, so here's the thing. I mentioned earlier that swords are about truth, right? Truth and clarity. The 7 of Swords is that somebody's wearing a false self mask and there might be some deception. Now, that might be somebody deceiving you. It's possible. But where are you deceiving yourself? And where are you holding back feelings? Where is somebody holding back feelings? Is it your person? Is it you? The one question I always ask people, if you're finding that your person is emotionally unavailable, are you emotionally unavailable? And I say that from experience. I thought I was so open, and now this is me coming back to the definition of openness, because I think a lot of people perceive themselves to be open. Yeah, I'd go on a date if somebody came along. Yeah, no problem. But then they go on that date and then they say, I can't stop thinking about this other person. It's just not right. I can't do this. This is not for me. Dating's not for me. These apps are not for me. And I hear every reason why we can't move on. But I invite you to think about those reasons, like true reasons, like, not just excuses. Oftentimes we're not ready. We don't want to move on. We don't want to let go. And that's fine. There's no judgment on when you decide to let go or when you decide to move yourself forward. It's just, are you being honest with yourself? Okay. So the 7 of Swords here means you could be holding back some of your own feelings. Are you living your authentic truth? Or maybe in your heart, you're feeling like your person isn't living theirs. Now, here we have the Four of Wands, 1111. And so this is so interesting that this is coming up, and why I would have just spoken about, are you truly open? 1111 is spiritual ascension, okay? It is commitment, it's stability, it's a twin flame number. But the twin flame journey essentially is the spiritual awakening. Now, I call it a reawakening because I believe that we're already born awakened. I think we just go through the reawakening process when life gets in the way and hits us from every angle, when we're ready to be reawakened. But a lot of the times when we are sparked by these people, we say, it's unlike anything I've ever felt before. And trust me, I know that feeling. I would never tell you something that I don't know personally. But what you're feeling is you. Let's just assume for a second. If you share the same soul, you are them, they are you. So if you feel them, you feel you. So a lot of the times we don't want to move forward. We don't want to let go. We don't want to date other people because we don't want to leave our own comfort zone. And if you really look at your person, you'll know that you're mirroring each other. You may not have the exact same circumstances, but you can see very similar ones where they may be avoiding something, but so are you. If they're not ready for a relationship with you, maybe you're not really ready. And so these are the tough questions that come along with the ascension process. So, I think you are definitely on a reawakening path. No question. And by the way, whenever I say these things, this is not about whether your person loves you or whether you love them. I always talk about this. Tina Turner, what's love got to do with it? Love has nothing to do with it. It's not about you having to be with someone else. I need to clarify that. I say these things because we need the experience to feel ascension, to feel new energies come into our life, how we cope with them, how we address them, how we make boundaries. Going through the dating process isn't easy. Trust me, I know. But you don't have to marry these people. You don't have to have long-term relationships with them. This is about experience of what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. So by no means am I saying that, your person isn't your person or that you're not meant for each other. What I'm saying is that you have to look at where the two of you are at in the ascension process. More than likely, your person is 10 steps behind you. And this is where it's frustrating because you want to pull them up to your level. And by the way, when I say level, I don't mean you're better than and they're less than. What I'm saying is energetically, you're like 10 steps ahead. And that's a very hard thing to digest, okay? Now, in your person's heart space, there's the Seven of Pentacles. Seeds are planted, not going to harvest overnight. It's slow. I told you, this side it's like slow energy. And the Page of Wands, interesting that the Page of Wands fell right on top of the Page of Wands. Page of Wands is throwing caution to the wind. So here's the thing. I think there's a bit of driving with your foot on the brake for both of you, but especially right now I see it here because I think that there's this bit of hot and cold where it's like, oh my gosh, I really want this. I get so wrapped up. You're so amazing. This is so hot, the chemistry, whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, but I'm worried. Can I really have this? Am I rushing things? Am I ready for a commitment? I think that's the dilemma, Overall energy is Two of Wands. How funny, again, repeating cards. Two of Wands says, I'm going to leave my comfort zone. I'm going to embark on some sort of journey. And it can be a card of travel if that's something that's on the horizon for one of you or both of you. And look, travel. Okay. Six of Swords, moving on to calmer waters and peace. It's leaving the turbulence behind. Notice the mountain in the background. Mountains can be one of two things, obstacles or achievements. And it's all perspective. Now, when I look at this card in particular, and I know that it's the Six of Swords and we're moving to calmer waters, this is telling me we're going to get over that mountain and it's going to be an achievement. And we can use the mountain as another word for cake in the cake analogy, where we're going to get to the top of the cake. Now, again, we can't pull our person to the top of the cake. We can't pull our person to the top of the mountain and over it. It's a matter of timing, right? And that's why you being number one, putting yourself on the pedestal is key. And you believing in your abundance, that overflowing abundance, asking for what you want or better. And that comes back to what I was saying about intentions. You may say, well, my intention is this person. And look, I'm sure your person is wonderful. It's never about whether they're a good or bad person. There is no good or bad. The issue is, do they feel good enough about themselves? Do they feel worthy enough for you? Can they give? And when you feel abundant and you ask for what you want or better, that's the key, or better. Nobody says you can't hope for this connection or this person. You need to ask for what you want or better, because again, the universe is going to give you what you need, not always what you want. Okay. Okay. Underlying energy. The Hermit, searching your soul. I just said, what do you want? Page of Swords. Spying or observing. Be very careful if you're spying or observing with each other on social media. Energetic spying is chasing. And I know a lot of people don't recognize that, or they don't realize that's what they're doing. If you're watching someone's stories constantly, or you're posting to get their attention, or you're reading old conversations, looking at old pictures, and obsessively thinking, and I know the obsessive thinking is part of the territory, but I just want to remind you that focusing on the other person, feeling in lack, meaning that you don't have them, they're not here, if that's the case, then that's only going to repeat itself. I also want to remind you that if you have a story of them that says they can't give, they can't do this, they can't do that, then that's the story you have. That's the story that manifests. That's the story that continues. So I'm very conscious of this myself. When a lot of you ask me questions about my journey and how I was sparked or how I've gone through all these things, I always have to remind myself that if I repeat those stories, and they're very informative because that's how I teach anecdotally, I have to remember that if I'm telling that story that way, I'm just going to continue manifesting it. So I have to be very conscious of my thoughts, my feelings, my words, my actions, because I don't want to think of this person in that story. I want abundance for them. I want them to be happy. I really wish they knew how thankful and how much gratitude I have for this process, for this journey, because that's where trust the process comes from. I learned that lesson, I don't want to say the hard way, but I certainly learned that lesson through this experience. And I want the story to be about gratitude, about abundance, about self-worth, confidence, and believing in the impossible, and believing that whatever's meant for me is meant for me. I want to remind you, nothing that's meant for you is ever going to pass you by, ever, in my opinion. So let's go to the after tarot and see what you can expect in the following week. Now, in your headspace, there's the Two of Swords. We have a lot of twos. Twos are about partnerships, about building something. And I find this actually quite interesting. I'm gonna go off on a little tangent for a moment. Why do I feel like there's possibly other energy in here? And what I mean by that is, look at these two. Now, it's not about gender, but in this card, we have two men here with their swords. And there's this person in the middle. I filmed a reading recently and I posted about, twin flame versus soulmate. That's a whole other discussion. If you'd like me to do a video on that, I can always do that. Like the differences or what it sort of means to go through that process. But it doesn't even have to have a label. Here's the thing about perceived openness, and I mentioned it earlier. We get so stuck sometimes on one person, and then when somebody else comes into the mix and offers us something, we always say, yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. I was thinking about the other person the entire time. I hear this all the time, by the way. This is not just like one or two conversations. I hear it all the time. It just doesn't feel the same. But again, why does that person spark you so much? It's because it's you, right? It's your soul. It's telling you, oh, are you sure? You sure you want to do this? That's the emotional pain body too. Are you sure? Maybe you like the comfort zone. So if somebody else comes into the mix, don't dismiss it right away. That's why I want you all to have the experience to know what you want and what you don't want. But how will you know that unless you go through that experience? So I'm not suggesting that there has to be another person who's vying for your attention. There could be. Let me know in the comments if this is something you identify with. But I would just say to you that you have to be decisive in your own thinking. Don't make decisions based on somebody else or waiting on somebody else. You got to live your life. One of my famous lines that I would always say in regards to my situation was, press your luck, no whammies. Go live your life. Go see what life is like. Like I can't sit here and wait on that. And it's a hard thing to do, to make that decision. But when you're ready, you'll know. Nobody says you have to do this today, but this is just food for thought. And with this, we have the devil. See, this is what I mean. The devil card is typically about restrictions, okay? And we're looking at the energies now for the following week. And this is about unchaining yourself. Because now you got the lovers who are basically like engaging here. But at the same time, with whom? I don't know. I mean, this could be your person. This could be somebody else. It depends on your situation. But in theory, this is like saying you're going to unchain yourself, or you're going to let go a little bit, or surrender a little bit more. This card went flying. And see, look, there's the Ace of Swords. We get a lot of swords energy here. Ace of Swords is clarity. It's truth. Okay? Wow, what a beautiful card. And I think you are. I said it. I really believe that in the next couple of weeks, you're going to get clarity that you really didn't have before. And there's the Temperance card. Temperance in general is patience, forgiveness. It can be reconciliation. It's alchemy, blending the old and the new. It's turning something into something else. And that's what I mean. Your person is working on themselves. They're changing over time. It may be slow. It may not be at the pace that you want. But again, it's not about what you want, right? It's about what is needed. And ultimately, what's needed for your person, right? Now, in your heart space, we have the Tower. You're going to have a bit of a shakeup. And people get afraid when they see the Tower card. There's nothing to be afraid of with this. The Tower card means your world is shaken up. Hence why when you have 4 of Wands, 11, that's what happens. Your world gets shaken up. You see things differently. You feel differently. Your friendships are different. Your family treats you different. Everybody seems to treat you differently and look at you like, who is this person? I'll never forget when I had somebody say to me, oh, the new Kelly. And I was like, the new Kelly, okay. I'm like, this has always been me. You just don't like the fact that I have different boundaries or that I'm doing differently. And if you can identify with that, let me know. But don't take this as necessarily a bad card. We need things shaken up. And this is what I mean. If you've been sweeping under the rug, I said that earlier, hey, you can't do that forever. Okay? It's going to come back around. And there's the Judgment card. See what I mean? Wake up call. Wake up call. This means a decision's got to be made. Something's got to change. Are you going to heed the call? You're going to go through that transformation? And in your person's heart space, we have, this is interesting, the 5 of Cups. You know, this is the thing. Your person is going to feel a bit of the effects of this hot and cold energy. Because this is the, I'm worried, I want to rush this, but I can't. What do I do? And then the Page of Wands like, oh, I'm going to throw caution to the wind and I'm going to go on an adventure. You know, it's like I said, driving with your foot on the brake. I think they're going to feel a bit of the effects. They're going to feel a bit of that grief. Now, the nice thing about the after tarot is that this is showing the energies after the grief and disappointment. So I think your person may go through a bit of a phase where they feel that longing or they feel that regret or they feel that feeling of like, uh-oh, what did I do? Or did I handle that properly? Or they just may have some general regret. But it will get better because I'll tell you something. There's progress in that. We need to go through those. And look, Page, you know what? I just have to say, you realize that we've had the Page of Wands. If I'm not mistaken, I have to almost like check now. Page of Wands, Page of Wands, Page of Wands in the exact same position. Wow. Wow. That is unbelievable. I mean, I shouldn't even say that. It is believable. Page of Wands throwing caution to the wind. Oh, my kitty cat's doing parkour again. Overall energy, 6 of Pentacles, equal giving and receiving and balance. It's also about investment, and that's what we want in a connection. We want equal giving and receiving and balance. And I love this. Wow. This is the 4 of Pentacles. And in the traditional, like current energies of this card, it would be like all or nothing, extremes of giving time, love, or money. And all of a sudden now, it's like the Grim Reaper here, or death is coming in here and going, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. We're not holding back anymore. And I said it earlier, perceived openness. And interesting, again, I mentioned this, I don't know if it was last week or the week before. Look at this mirroring, you know, obviously this is a 6, this is a 4, and Roman numerals, they mirror. So balance, not holding back anymore. See? Interesting. I love that energy. Okay, underlying energy. Oh, we had this card before. Wow. We have had the 2 of Wands, I don't know how many times today as well, and the 2s of the 2 of Swords, 2 of Wands. Look at these 2 together. Remember I said to you, he's got the whole world in his hands, and now they're sharing it. And how did all this happen, right? Making moves, setting intentions, ascension, putting oneself first. I love that. Okay. And underlying energy, King of Wands. Wow. A lot of King energy. King of Wands is passionate. There's forward motion. There's a sense of masculine energy, yet nurturing all at the same time. Balance of masculine and feminine energies. I think that is absolutely beautiful. Okay. So let's take some Power of Surrender cards here just to see what we need to surrender or surrender to. And we have surrender your need to always be right. Give others the gift of letting them be right. Be yielding, not rigid. This will help resolve conflicts and improve your relationships. Wow. Okay. And with that we have, of course, wow. I love when there's confirmation. Surrender outdated beliefs about yourself. Let go of limiting ideas about yourself that originate from the past. Then you can own your power and soar in your life. And, here's two references from the reading today. One, I said, we can't be in the same old story. If we have a story about something, we're going to continue to manifest that. Okay? And we have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe that the abundance is flowing. If we were hurt in the past, we can't assume we're going to be hurt again. So this is a very strong message. I really hope this resonates with you. Thank you always for listening to my readings. Your kindness, your support, a subscription, a like, a comment, they mean the world to me. If you'd like to do a personal reading with me, the link is in my bio. Thank you very much, and I wish you an amazing week.